Right, let's make us some fresh pasta. So here I've got 300 grams of superfine flour, double O, also known as pasta flour. I'm going to add some salt to it. We're going to mix it all up. So all you need to create freshly made pasta at home is some flour, some salt, and some eggs. If you cannot find pasta flour, double O flour, just go for regular old plain flour. Now, we're going to create a well and we're going to pour the eggs in here. If you would like your work to be a little bit neater, you can do this initial stage of mixing the flour and the eggs in a bowl. That's not a problem at all. So, if you create a nice, huge-ish crater in the middle, and we can start by lightly beating the eggs in here. Save us the trouble of doing it in the well, as it were. And then, all we're going to do is mix in the flour and the eggs little by little with your fork. Now the standard ratio, easy to remember standard ratio of flour to eggs is 100 grams of flour to a large egg. I like to add an additional yolk for just that extra softness, and you can start with that ratio, or you can go with the 100 grams of flour to one large egg. Full recipe and variations are given in a downloadable format. And as you start getting more and more confident with your pasta making, you could even substitute a touch of semolina, fine semolina for your flour, just to get a different feel and flavor to your pasta. So we're going to keep doing this until that fork is no longer able to move freely. Kids will have a field time with this if you have any children at home. Or if you happen to be babysitting your nieces or your nephews or your little cousins, this is a great way, if a touch messy with kids and flour, a great way to spend a few hours in the kitchen with them. And there is nothing quite like homemade anything, right? So the fork is beginning to get resistance now from the dough. And this is around the stage where we're going to start using our hands to do this. There we are. So all we're going to do is to move that dough round and round. The trick is to get as little of the sticky stuff on your hands at this early stage as possible. Make sure that the sticky stuff is constantly covered. That's what I mean by sticky stuff there. So make sure that that bit is always constantly covered with your dough, or with your flour. There we go. Now we're beginning to get crumbs and we're going to bring it all together. Now what would be handy at this stage is one of these scrapers available easily anywhere that sells baking utensils and stuff. So we're just going to bring this dough together. And of course, we always have a little bit of flour at hand if you do need more flour, because your flour is going to have a little bit, could have a little bit more moisture present in it. The air in your kitchen might have a little bit more than mine. So it is, to some extent, it is not an exact science. So now we're just going to knead this until it all comes together. There we go. And of course, don't forget your hands. Of course, many people would just do this over your pasta and just incorporate whatever is on your hands back onto the pasta, but I prefer to just lose these little bits. There we go. And now we're just going to knead that dough until we have a nice smooth mixture. There we are, all done. You don't need much kneading to do. All we're doing is just incorporating it into a lovely little smooth mixture. There we go. And just scrape away any old sticky bits. There we are. Now what we're going to do now is to wrap this up in cling film and just leave it aside. No need to keep it in the fridge. Leave it aside on your countertop for 30 minutes for the gluten, the dough to rest before we start rolling it into pasta sheets.